Welcome to the Quest Forums channel. This video is a continuation of our study in the Gospel of Mark. We're looking at chapter 6 today. And the thing to know about Mark chapter 6 is that the overriding theme is provision, is God's provision. And it's important for us to realize that because it's not initially obvious. As you read the stories through here, it's maybe not the first thing that you're necessarily going to think of. Certainly is the thing that unites them, but that is what's present here. And it begins on the more obvious side with what we see where Jesus sends out his 12 apostles. And he gives them the power to cast out demons and to heal diseases and to proclaim his gospel. And as he does this, he tells them not to take any supplies. He says not to take any money or extra clothing or even food, because they are to depend upon the hospitality of others and ultimately upon God. That he is going to be the one to give them the things that they need as they fulfill his mission. Now, where this goes in a very different direction is that the following story is of the execution of John the Baptist. And it can raise a question, what does this have to do with sending out the disciples? And it is a little bit difficult, but I think that it has to do with the fact that the disciples were on a spiritual high, or we can assume that they were, as they're going out to do the things that Jesus has told them and given them the power to do it. And so they're maybe caught up in what they're able to do, and readers can be as well. So talking about John kind of brings things back down to earth, that John was a faithful servant of God. He was a prophet, but he still suffers. And he suffers at the hands of the unjust and the evil, of Herod Antipas and his wife and his stepdaughter. So as you see this, you realize that everything is not always easy for those who do God's will, but they still have to rely on him. Even in those difficult moments, you have to look to God, because ultimately there really is nowhere else to look. And so this comes back full circle. The disciples return. Jesus tries to take them to a place where they can relax for a bit. It doesn't work out because the crowd follows them. But we get this comment, and it's really the most important comment in the chapter, at least as far as I'm concerned, where Jesus looks at the crowd and he has compassion on them, and he realizes that they are like sheep without a shepherd. And that's the situation that the people were in, where the religious authorities are not teaching them the real truth of God. The political authorities are the Herodians and also the Romans. They're oppressing the people. And now John the Baptist is dead. There's a leadership vacuum. And Jesus steps in to fill it. And with the miracle that he performs, where he shows mastery over nature and he makes something out of really nothing, he shows that he actually has the supreme right to fill that role. That he is divine, that he is God, and he's able to provide like no one else can. And so he feeds the people. And also, it's an important comment where there's 12 baskets left over, because this points back right to where everything started in in verse 7 rather. It points right back to the beginning, where Jesus had told the disciples not to take food, and God was going to provide their food. And now here he has 12 baskets, one for each of them. He is providing. He is God. And so that's the overall lesson here, and it's the one that still applies for us today. And we have to recognize that we need to rely on Jesus. He's the one who provides for us. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to suffer. There are going to be moments where life is not easy. But in those moments, that's not a reason to give up on God. It's a reason to lean on him harder, in recognizing the fact that there's no other solid ground. There's no other place that we can really stand, nowhere else that we can turn. We certainly don't have the answers for ourselves. And so when we do that, when we really turn to Jesus, especially in the hardest times, that's where we can see that he is the good shepherd who gives us true rest, that he's the bread of life, who fills us more completely than anything else can. And so in him we have everything that we need. So I would really love to hear from you on this. So what are your thoughts on this passage? Is there anything that you care to share? Or maybe you just have a question about it or something else in the Bible. Feel free to put that in the comments below. Thanks very much for checking out this video, and until next time, keep looking up.